Yeah.
Hey, I help where I can.
I know you do. This is where you live. With you, man. I know. It was. All right, good evening. It is 5:30. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. As a reminder, please turn your cell phones to silent or turn them off. And if you would join us, please, in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, when you're ready, Chris, please take the roll.
Councilmember Berg.
Here.
Councilmember Rowe.
Here.
Councilmember Stevens.
Here.
Councilmember Strebe.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dalby.
Here. And at this time, I would go ahead and call the Honorable Judge Daly up to do the swearing in of Councilmember Mark Rowe and Councilmember-elect Bob Myers.
Swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution of the State of Iowa.
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa.
And I will faithfully and impartially,
And I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all duties of the office
discharge all duties of the office
of council member, City of Ottumwa, Iowa,
council member, City of Ottumwa, Iowa,
of Wapello County, as now or hereafter required by law.
Wapello County is here and now.
Congratulations, both of you, for a hard-fought election. And thank you, too, Your Honor, for taking the time to be here with us tonight. Give them just a couple seconds to get to their seats. Okay, Chris, would you go on with the consent agenda, please?
Items on the consent agenda. Minutes from regular meeting number 33 on December 3rd, 2019, and special meeting number 34 on December 11th, 2019, as presented. Approve reappointments of Kara Galloway and Dennis Wilhoit to the Historic Preservation Commission, terms to expire 1/1/2023. Resolution number 267, 2019, setting January 7th, 2020 as the date of a public hearing on the disposition of city-owned property located at 811 East Mary to Gary and Kamala Fisher. Resolution number 269, 2019, authorizing the mayor, interim city admin, director of finance, and accountant to sign checks and make wire transfers for the city of Ottumwa. Resolution number 270, 2019, authorizing the mayor, interim city administrator, director of finance, city treasurer, and accountant to make investment purchases and sales in accordance with the city investment policy.
Is there a motion?
Move consent agenda as presented. Second.
Okay, take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes. I'd go ahead and make a motion to approve the agenda with one small adjustment, and that is moving Resolution H9 to H1. Is there a motion to do that?
So moved.
Excuse me, is there a second? Second? I'll make the second. I guess I made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mark got the second. Okay, you take the
Councilmember
roll.
Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes. Okay, and we'll move on down to the administrator's report. And at this time, I'll turn it over to interim city administrator Tom Lazio. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor Delby.
Mhm.
At this time, I'd like to call on our Fire Chief, Tony Miller, to come to the podium and to tell us about the Sullivan Brothers Award of Valor and the honorees tonight. So, Tony?
Okay, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. We've got 3 of our 4 guys here. The last Tuesday went up to the governor's office and received the governor's life-saving award. I'm going to call these guys up here. Captain Rich Dam, firefighter Andy Ewing, and firefighter Will Munley. It was an awesome, pretty awesome ceremony they had, and you can see the plaques they have, the things around their medals they have around their neck. And Gary Dowd, our 4th member, has got the flu. Gary's not going to be here tonight. So these are the guys that got the award. This is not over yet because Jeff Box was one of our firefighters. These guys, Andy and Gary, got these guys out of the river, which is awesome. The way they did it was very strenuous, stressful night. Jeff Box is the firefighter that got the actual guy that started this whole thing out of the river. And Jeff, with the first council meeting in January, is going to receive the Firefighter's Life-Saving Award. We haven't given one of these out in over 10 years. So for what Jeff did that night, Jeff was equally as important than these guys, and he's going to be honored for what he did that night. So.
Thank you very much, Chief. It's a very prestigious award, and we're very proud of all of you. And thanks for the work you do to protect our citizens. And this was a classic example of saving someone's life. So, again, our hats off to you. Thank you very much. Item 3 on the agenda under my section is some concerns about the Nights and Lights discussion, and I just wanted the council to be made aware of the fact that earlier the month of December, we were dealing with the electrical hookups in the park. This is an annual project done by the Chamber of Commerce, and our electricians noticed that we were not being hooked up correctly, and there was a danger of electrical shock and possibly even electrocution. So after working with Public Works, the electricians, with our city attorney and risk manager, we made the decision to send a letter to the chamber outlining the fact that they had to use ground fault interrupters, and there was no getting around that. So I did send Shay Griner a letter outlining that and telling her I was sorry it was so late in the season. Wish we could have done that sooner, but we will work with the chamber next year to make sure that it's safe. Our first responsibility is to follow the state and national codes and keep our citizens and the volunteers who are working on this project safe. So just wanted you to be aware of that, and I've had several conversations with Shay. Thought she might be here tonight, but she informed me later that she was okay with the letter and accepting it, even though she didn't like it necessarily. So we'll do a good job of working with her team next year. Item 4, we've had lots of discussion with our city staff about the annual fire inspection and extinguisher program. We asked our city engineer, Dwight Dolman, to really put together a citywide program to do the inspections and count for all of the extinguishers that we have in our different city buildings and sites. And after much discussion and comparing of bids and so forth, I am recommending to the council, and I'm going to send a memo to the fire chief, that our fire department actually are qualified and should do the annual inspection. It's fitting that they do the business inspection, and we probably should depend on their expertise. So when it comes to the 6-year and the 12-year where they have to do special testing and so forth, we'll farm that out. But basically the routine annual inspections, we're going to have our staff do, and I just wanted the council to be aware of that. It was a good compromise after much discussion with everybody. Item 5, I think Kayla Mulder, our new finance director, Joni Keith, and I met with David Severio and Mary Kirk from the transit group yesterday. Had a good meeting with them. They are going to come and present to you, the council, and to the community at a special work session January 14th here in the council chambers. Their plan for how to work with our transit situation. As you know, we have a fixed route bus system, and we're running into some competition with the regional transit system, 1015, that's doing right on demand. So we need to have some clarification on that. We've asked them to come in and present a program, explain it to the council, show us the finances, hopefully find a way that we can work with this, because the DOT is expecting a memorandum of understanding between our two groups, and we want to comply with that very shortly, as soon as we can in the beginning of the new calendar year. Item 6, I just wanted the council to be fully aware that actually tomorrow, the 18th, Greater Ottumwa Partners in Progress is having a special meeting to merge the chamber and economic development under the GoPIP umbrella. Assuming that vote goes as planned, the two organizations would cease to operate as a chamber and economic development. There'll be departments under GoPIP under the direction of TJ Heller. We have been supporting that operation, and I felt it was important that you be made aware of this. There was some stumbling blocks along the way. We found that financing and legal issues about how to dissolve other nonprofits was much more complicated and took longer than we expected, but that should take place tomorrow at noontime. An item that's not listed, but I want Joni Keith, we had a meeting today with Mulder and Associates out of Des Moines. That's the firm we hired to help us in soliciting applicants for the city administrator position. So I would call on City Attorney Joni Keith to give us a highlight of that.
Thank you. We will be having interviews for our next city administrator, and they will take place on January 24th and 25th, which is a Friday and a Saturday. We're going to start out the day with lunch for our 5 candidates, and then proceed with a city tour for each of them, and then we'll have a meet and greet. We'll have a dinner with council, then a meet and greet for the public on Friday evening. And that'll be followed on Saturday with interviews that will take place in council chambers. They will be public interviews. So the public is welcome to come and the press is welcome to come and attend those interviews. We will also have some breakout sessions with department heads being able to meet with each of the candidates. And then we'll have a group of citizens that could also interview and meet with those candidates and make a recommendation or just their observations to council. Following the interviews, at that point, council will go into closed session and do a deliberation. So that's the plan. As I said, the majority of it is going to be publicly conducted, and we'll be getting additional information out to the public, hopefully in the next week or so.
Thank you, Joni. Two other things that, again, came up today, just for information. Met with Sonia Farrell from the library, and Sonia's our director, and they have their board of directors or trustees voted this week to do what they call a fine-free operation. So starting in January of this year, they will not fine people who are late in their book return. You still will have to pay for damaged or lost books, but they've done an analysis and feel that what they recoup from the fines doesn't warrant the time and energy they spend on getting the recovery. And she's going to do this for 1 year and then reevaluate it, and she'll come back and report to the council at a later date. So if you hear any questions about that, you can talk to Sonia or me. I'd like to call on Kayla Mulder, our new finance director. She has a couple of items that we want to make the council aware of.
Thank you. I just wanted to address the council members regarding a Senate file 634 that was passed. It's taking further steps in accordance with the GASB 77 to provide citizens a greater transparency for tax revenues. This will also mean we will have an additional public hearing when we set those max levies and before we vote on our budget. It addresses social media as well for public hearings regarding increasing or setting tax revenues. When we post this information for the hearings to our city webpage and our city Facebook pages, if you have a personal Facebook page that is representing you as a city council member, we will need you to also post them. So Katie, once she posts those, will let you know that you need to share that information with your social media. At this point, we do know we have some department Facebook pages, and then we have a couple council members that have Facebook pages. And so we will address those as we need these posted for you. But I just wanted you guys to be aware that that is needed. And then lastly, we will be changing some of our processes for our budgets. I do still want to, and we will still meet individually with all of our departments, but we will get all of our department heads together along with our budget preparers as one large group. As the city, we will represent the entire city and discuss, what we need done for our budget. So we are going to add an additional step with our budget process this year and see how that works. And, it's not my budget, it's the city's budget. It's all of our budgets. And so we have some further discussion that we'll continue to have this year. So thank you.
Thank you, Kayla. And I might remind the council, this was a desire of Councilman Victor Strebe several years ago. And so we're finally getting it implemented. And I think it's going to be a good change for our city staff to be a part of the team that actually finalizes our budget that will be presented to you for voting later on. And lastly, I want to compliment Christine Reinhardt, our city clerk. She is the point of contact for the census committee, and we are having a meeting Thursday night at 5 o'clock here in room 108, and that's open to the public. We have sent invitations to the county and to other cities around us. We're trying to get as a maximum head count for the census. It's very important that we count as many people as we can. It has implications for federal funding and determination of legislative things. So Chris has done a great job of getting that organized, and I just want to remind you, if you're free, to stop in and participate with us. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'd return it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lazio. All right. This is a time in the meeting where we give time to citizens to want to comment on agenda items. Excuse me. If you would like to do so, please pick up a form there on the rail. Give it to one of our staff members down there at the table, and they will get that to the city clerk. And then when the item comes up for discussion, we will call you forward as just a reminder. Okay. We'll move on down to the departmental recommendations then.
Bid report and contract award for asbestos removal and demolition of 137 South Van Buren. Recommendation, accept bid and award contract for asbestos removal and demolition and disposal of the structures located at 137 South Van Buren to Environmental Edge of Ottumwa, Iowa, in the amount of $14,220.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented, Your Honor.
Second.
Okay. Kevin?
Thank you, Your Honor. Bids were accepted for this project until 2 p.m. December 10th, 2019. 4 bids were received, and the best bidder was Environmental Edge for the sum of $14,220. We recommend accept this bid and award a contract to Environmental Edge.
Okay. Does council have any questions or comments on this item? None? Okay. Take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Bid report and contract award for asbestos removal of 422 South Ferry Street. Recommendation, accept bid and award contract for asbestos removal to Environmental Edge of Ottumwa, Iowa, in the amount of $8,700 at 422 South Ferry Street.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Once again, Kevin, go right ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Bids were accepted for this project until 2 p.m. December 10th, 2019. 5 bids were received. Best bidder for asbestos removal was Environmental Edge for the sum of $8,700. We recommend acceptance of this bid and award the contract to Environmental Edge.
Okay. Again, is there any comments or questions for Kevin? Okay. Take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Bid report and contract award for demolition of 422 South Ferry Street. Recommendation, accept bid and award contract for demolition and disposal of the structures located at 422 South Ferry Street to Tim Skinner Trucking and Excavation of Ottumwa, Iowa, in the amount of $4,900.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented, Your Honor. Second.
Okay. Kevin?
Thank you, Your Honor. Bids were accepted for this project until 2 p.m. December 10th, 2019. 5 bids were received. Best bidder for the demolition was Tim Skinner, the sum of $4,900. We recommend acceptance of this bid and award the contract to Tim Skinner.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Development proposal for online pooling solution to replace Polko. Recommendation, approve the development proposal with Neapolitan Labs to build an online polling solution for the City of Ottumwa website for a one-time development fee of $3,500.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Okay. And who's got this one? Mr. Lazio.
We've met several times with Neapolitan Labs to install a new feature on the city website to provide more online polling solutions to collect feedback from our local residents. It's something that we can build into our current website, and it would replace the out-of-state program POCO, which hasn't been fully utilized. I think having this on our website will make it easier for people. And Brian McMillan is the owner of that company and has worked very well with our staff and has just some very innovative ideas. So we're recommending that we cease using POCO and transfer this to his company, Neapolitan Labs, and it'll be a one-time setup fee of $3,500.
Okay, any comments? Councilmember Burke.
I would just say I sat in on one of the meetings since I have a keen interest in surveying in general. And, I think it'll be helpful to drive people to our website. That way people see all the information that's available there as opposed to being on a third-party site. And of course, reduce the costs, but still have the ability to do that, get that feedback, and give us more flexibility in the questions of which we're asking.
Yeah, it does seem to make sense if he's doing the website and, being able to do all that, just have him, integrate that in there makes much more sense with cost savings too.
Yeah, and Pulco being a yearly fee versus a one-time, of course,
Yeah.
will be cost effective.
Yep. Okay, any more questions, comments? Okay, take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg.
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens.
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe.
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby.
Yes.
Rebuild of one of the Richmond lift station pumps. Recommendation, approve the repair of a Flight Model 3152 pump from Electric Pump in Des Moines, Iowa for the quoted price of $7,656.92.
Okay, is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Okay, Larry, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. This pump is located at the Richmond Pump Station, which is a lift station used to pump wastewater to water pollution control facility. The Flight Model 3152 has been in service for 20 years, and the seals have failed, as well as the impeller showed excessive wear for pumping grit and sand, which is fairly typical in our pump stations. All the parts for this rebuild are in stock, and repair can be done in 1 week. The price of a new one is $18,450. On a rebuild, there'll be a 90-day warranty and 1 year on the parts. We do budget $60,000 in a pump repair budget line item. We've used $42,837.45, and this repair would come out of that fund.
Okay, any questions, comments for Larry on this item? Okay, take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg.
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens.
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe.
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby.
Yes.
Approve the Jefferson Street Bridge lighting improvements. Recommendation, approve the Jefferson Street Bridge lighting improvements as described within the Hometown Rewards program through Alliant Energy.
Okay, is there a motion?
Go ahead. So moved. Second.
Okay, go ahead, Larry.
The city of Ottumwa, along with its community partners, had an opportunity to participate in a newly created program offered by Alliant Energy. And I listed the program description, but since that time, a PowerPoint has been developed, and Fred will present that from, and the Main Street Director will come up and present that.
Good evening, Fred.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and Council and Larry. So I'm here to present about kind of an exciting project. It's been my pleasure to serve on the Hometown Rewards program for the last year and a half, along with several other folks. But we're nearing completion of that. It's been kind of a fun process. I don't know if that's working. Let's try that. There we go. But a little background on that. It is a program that was started by Alliant Energy to help communities try to save on their electric bills, which has been a fun and exciting kind of a process. And we've done several projects throughout the community the last year and a half or so. It is a program that was started by Alliant Energy. Unfortunately, Ottumwa is the last one that's going to get to participate in that. It has been canceled by Alliant Energy, but luckily we got in there at the tail end. We will get a reward of just over $50,000 at the end of the project, and actually part of that has been awarded to us already. A project needed to be picked.
Go back.
Did I skip one? Okay. So the way the project was picked, the reward funds must be used for an energy efficient project. So we looked at several projects, but they kind of gave us some scope to look at. The project had to be highly visible, a project that was ready to proceed, reasonable cost, cost and a few barriers and for completion. The committee looked at several projects. One, we looked at or one of the ideas was a solar array for Bridgeview Center, which we thought may be too costly, and the timeline was not clear or well understood on that. As well as for the water pumps, solar water pumps for the beach. Again, the thought was that that was going to be too expensive of a project. Replacing normal street lights with LEDs, something that we'd still like to do, but we didn't think that that would be a highly visible project. Replacing lights that are already there without a grand effect. And then the last of those was the new Christmas decorations for the light poles, which we actually found that we were able to use some marketing money from Hometown Rewards to do that. So we did purchase new Christmas decorations, LED Christmas decorations, and partnered that with a promotion from O'Hara Hardware as well for folks to replace their home Christmas lights with LED lights. I think they went through 600 and some strands of lights down there, so it was a pretty successful promotion. But the project that we came up with was the Jefferson Street Viaduct, which has become kind of an icon for Ottumwa, and of course centered around the river, which is the reason that Ottumwa is here in the first place, is the river, and then the bridge that connects the two sides. We see that as a highly visible project, one that could be done quickly, and again, reduce the energy costs and long-term maintenance costs to the city, and fits within the budget. So this is what the bridge lights currently look like. We have 4 sections with 6 blue tinted metal halogen light fixtures that were installed in 2001. A few of those lights have been damaged and been taken down over the years. Each fixture draws about 1,000 watts, currently 23,000 watts total. And again, I know we've gone through this a couple times, but this is where the four sections are and what they look like. You can see, let's see which one is the southwest location's actually missing a light. This is what they will be replaced with. So it's removal of the existing array, replacement with new, the RGB LEDs, which is red, green, blue. Each fixture draws 400 watts max, 9,600 watts max total for all 24 lights. Removal of the old fencing and replacement with new fencing where necessary. I think in this next slide shows that the ones that would be closest to Bridgeview will actually be mounted on that wall. And then there'll be some protective fencing. There is no need for the anti-glare fencing that's up now with the new LEDs. This is a good example. On the left is what the current bridge looks like with 24 lights, and on the right was our test last fall with actually just 4 LEDs going. So there'll be 6 in each location, and then 4 sets of those. So it'll be quite spectacular, and the ability to change from any color of the rainbow. So it'll be pretty neat. The lights are at least 60% more efficient than the existing lights, and the city should see a savings of about $3,000 a year in electric cost. So with our $50,000 reward from Hometown Rewards, we weren't quite to the budget that we needed to be, but we have secured all the funding now. Thanks to volunteers with Main Street, we have written a couple grants to Wapello County Foundation and received a check for $12,550. Not being quite enough, we then wrote a grant to the Farney Foundation, which is housed at US Bank. And we have received a portion of that of $6,738, and we will get the remainder of that, $14,166 in March. when their funding round comes open again. We have received $7,000. We have that in hand from Hometown Rewards. But in March, we'll receive another $43,046, which will give us a total of $83,500. So the project is fully funded. We do have to give a down payment to Musco to start the work, which is why I'm here tonight, so we can get approval so we can move forward with that. And we do have enough money in hand now to make that down payment. But as soon as that is up and ready to go, we will enter into the purchase agreement with Musco. Musco will fabricate the lights over the next few months, and they will be installed in March with the celebration, hopefully in April. After the installation, Main Street will gift the lights or whatever wood we want to use, whatever Joni wants there for us to gift those to the city. The city will then take ownership, and then the 10-year warranty will also go with those lights to the city. And then just back, I mean, this is off of the city website. I don't think that picture's up yet, but it is the bridge has become quite an icon for, a visual icon for Ottumwa. It will continue to be so, and I think this will just make it that much better, so. Thank you.
Okay, is there any
Questions?
Questions or comments for Fred? Well, Fred, once again, hats off to Main Street volunteers, Councilmember Berg, and everybody that has been involved in this project. Once again, Main Street does wonderful things for our downtown. This is just another one of those things that highlights the work that you guys do down there. So thanks again. I see Connie again in the audience. She's one of our good volunteers, and of course, Claudia. So hats off to you guys. Thanks for everything you do. Is there any other questions for Fred? Councilmember Berg.
I would just, I know several people in the community had concerns on, this being Alliant funds and the rate hike and those things. But this funding was something that is legislated from Alliant Energy to do with communities. Had our community declined to accept this money from Alliant, it would just go to another community. Sure. So, we thought it's one, the city approved doing this project with them well before the rate hike, but this is just the bonus project on the end. So I just think it's important to clarify that.
Certainly.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Larry, you have anything to add, or?
No, I just think that's a really good point that it's estimated, and it'll probably be actually more than $3,000 a year savings in energy consumption. And that's one of the things we battle in our budget when you look at, roughly $500,000 in electric use throughout the city for our lighting systems.
Certainly.
Yeah, with the lights, the 400 watt maximum is when it's all white light. So if they're just blue or just green or just red or something, it's actually using significantly less than that. So that's the maximum usage. So it's pretty exciting.
Good stuff. Okay, we're ready to vote. All right, take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe.
Yep.
Councilmember Stevens.
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe.
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby.
Yes. Thank you, Larry.
Resolution number 277, 2019. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Resolution number 278, 2019, approving the service agreement between the City of Ottumwa and iWorks for health and planning software for a purchase price of $25,000. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 278, 2019.
Okay, is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented. Second.
Okay, Kevin, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. For some 15 years, the city Health and Planning Departments have been using a program called InterGov for our daily administration, our operating program. And we had went back because it was time for us to upgrade that program. And we had went back and looked at what that cost would be, and it worked out to be a cost for installation and yearly maintenance around $88,000. And so we did some research, and we came upon this program, iWork. And iWork was being used by Mount Pleasant and Burlington, among many others. And several of my staff members were able to go and check out that software. And we're very impressed with it. It's able to interface well with all your major Microsoft Suite programs, Excel, Access, and the like. We feel like it'd be very compatible with where we're going heading forward. We're trying to integrate some of our paperwork with downstairs and upstairs activities on billing and otherwise. And so we felt it was time to kind of try something like this. It was able to be compatible with so many other programs that our former system was not. We do have a overall price of $25,000. There'll be a $15,000 a year would be built into our budget for maintenance of the program and updating it regularly. And there's an initial $10,000 installation fee that we would be able to cover from excess fees in our budget that will exist this budget year. So we would pay the $10,000 to have the installation done, after which with our new budget year coming up in July 1st, we would begin to pay the yearly $15,000 to keep it updated and operational. I'd entertain any questions that members may have.
Kevin, I got a quick question here. On the existing program, the upgrade was $88,000. Was there after that initial $88,000, was there a yearly maintenance fee like there would be with this one after that upgrade for the old InterGov? It doesn't work very well for you.
If you're going to update them regularly, yeah, I mean, you're going to have fees on a yearly level.
So this one's considerably cheaper at $25,000 plus the $10,000, to get it going, and then the $15,000 per year. But you're
Yes.
saying even with the $88,000 upgrade on the old system?
It was $14,000 a year is the split out on the other program for maintenance fee.
Well, that's an obvious difference then. It's
Yes,
clear.
it is. And all the programs come with maintenance fees.
I figured that.
But,
That's why I asked.
Yeah. But we felt like this program is a lot more compatible with where we want to go heading forward.
Sure. Okay. Sorry. Is there any other questions there? I'm sorry, I kind of butted in.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
How long is it going to take for you to convert all of your data over to the new program?
Not long at all. Should be within a week. We have to get the people up here and they'll sit down with our folks and do a little training, over the program. But within a week that they're here, they're probably only going to be here for maybe a couple of days, and the initial installation should be able to just bring everything right over.
Okay. And will this have integration into, did you say that it would have integration into other programs within the city as well?
Yes, currently downstairs, and I don't know how long this is going to be the case, but currently downstairs we're using some pretty common programs for some of the bill outs that we do. So it's able to interface with QuickBooks, I think is what they're using downstairs. So it's able to interface with that, all your major Microsoft suites, Excel, Access. And so we feel like it should be compatible with everything we're going to be doing. If it's able to export and import those items, it should be able to work with other programs that do so. So we feel like we're going to be able to integrate our billings a little bit better. Of course, our scheduling is all of our own, with our inspectors and stuff. But when it comes to billing, we take money upstairs, but this will be able to let us hopefully be able to get our information down there in real time as we're taking it in, so everybody's aware of kind of what's going on.
And the last question I had, was the $88,000, was that a budgeted item already?
No.
Okay.
We just have went along, limping along really for the last 4 or 5 years with the program that we have. And it's outdated and it's a little bit antiquated.
Was it ever a budgeted item at any point in that
No
last 4 or
update
5
to it
years?
was, no.
Okay.
We got it, we downloaded it, we kind of kept it, and we've kind of sat on it, which is not uncommon.
This will come out of fund balance for the health department then? Is that where this is coming?
10,000 will come out of fund balance for this fiscal year. And we have budgeted in 15,000 in our next fiscal year for an ongoing. We will budget it in as if we were to do this tonight.
Sure. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens,
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe,
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Resolution number 265, 2019, approving the annual budget of the Ottumwa Water Works Board of Trustees for calendar year 2020. Recommendation: pass and adopt resolution number 265, 2019.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Is anybody going to take this? This is kind of standard procedure every year required of the city council. Waterworks budget. Joni, you want to take this one? See, Mike's not here, is he? Mike Heffernan?
Usually Mike comes to present this.
Usually
I was
you
at
can-
the Waterworks meeting this afternoon, and Mike said he had a conflict and could not be here. but I agree with Mayor Dalby. It's a requirement in the state code. We really can't do anything as far as changing it or modifying it. It's either accept or reject. And so we're going through the procedural requirements, and I think you have a copy of that in your packet. And I would recommend that we go ahead and approve it. Their board has already approved it in their November meeting.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is to go ahead and approve the waterworks budget as required by state code. So go ahead and take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens,
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe,
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby.
Yes.
Resolution number 266, 2019, assessing 2019 weed mowing charges against certain lots in the city of Ottumwa, Iowa for a total, including administrative fees, of $57,835. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 266, 2019.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Kevin?
Thank you, Your Honor. I really don't have a lot to present here on this one, except for it is, our total is 57,835. And
Comes up every year.
yep, every year.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, is there any questions on the weed mowing fees? None? Okay, take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens,
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe,
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Resolution number 268, 2019, approving a right-of-way agreement between the City of Ottumwa and Unity Fiber LLC, which currently owns the network for McLeod USA Telecommunications Services Incorporated, a Windstream company. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 268, 2019.
Is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Okay, Larry, you have the floor.
McLeod Telecommunications Services, Inc., a Windstream company, currently has an existing long-term agreement with the city of Ottumwa to allow them to construct a high-bandwidth fiber-based communication network and related services, and has been constructing a fiber optic cable system within the city. The Windstream company is currently going through a bankruptcy. The network is owned by Unifiber LLC. Unity is requesting to execute an agreement with the city to begin utilizing Windstream's facility as soon as needed, meaning if the bankruptcy continues. Joni would probably have more information on that. Once implemented, this will be a 10-year agreement with 2 10-year extensions.
Okay, any questions or anything you want to add, Joni, to that, or no? Okay. Any questions for Larry on this item? Okay. All right, everybody ready to vote? Okay, take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens.
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe.
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby.
Yes.
Resolution number 271, 2019, authorizing the mayor to sign the airport capital improvement plan, data sheets, and related documents and staff to submit to the Iowa DOT for the fiscal years 2021 to 2025. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 271, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Airport Director Chris Cobbler, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. The city must submit an annual airport improvement plan to the Iowa DOT and the FAA. Plan serves as a pre-application for the Iowa DOT's grant program. The updated project plan includes apron improvements for 2021, runway 4 and 22, and taxiway crack cleaning and slurry sealing for 2021, 3-box hangar construction for 2023, and snow removal equipment acquisition for 2025. The following information is included in the plan: data sheets with project description, amount of requested Iowa DOT dollars is 85%. The local match is required is 15% of the project, and this has been approved by the Airport Advisory Board.
Okay, any questions for Chris? All righty, take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens.
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe.
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby.
Yes. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Bet.
Resolution number 272, 2019, approving change order number 1 and approving the final pay request in the amount of $38,048.39 to DC Concrete and Construction and accepting the work as final and complete for the 2019 Catch Basin Replacement Program. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 272, 2019.
Okay, is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Okay, Larry?
This was our annual catch basin project, which reconstructed and raised catch basin wells with new grates as indicated on the plans and specifications. Basins were located on various streets within the city of Ottumwa. One of the things we wanted to do was point out some of the construction issues that occurred this year. We ended up, there was a brick storm line that actually crossed West 2nd, so we ended up just installing concrete pipe instead of leaving the brick. When we got into it, you can kind of see, this thing's not going to show up, but that picture kind of shows what we've run into, and we had to add and modify the pipe. That's just one of the items, and then you can generally just see all of the different utilities and stuff we had to work around. And on 3rd Street, we ended up adding, there were several additional pipes, adjusting a manhole, adding a alley grate along with this parking lot grate. We had issues in this parking lot where the water would come down. I think it shows up better in a different view. It would actually jump and then run into some of the back of the building. So we took out this type of grate, which is kind of like an old highway grate that would plug up 2 or 3 times a year, causing some water issues in this first corner business. We think by adding this type of grate and then also a manhole grate should help alleviate that. And that was after we got in and found what was underground. Kind of the same thing on Clay Street. We ended up going clear across, picking up both intakes, and then, of course, street patching, which we typically don't have quite so much patching in our intake replacement program. Usually you can set them in where the existing, do 5 or 6 feet of connection, and you're done. And again, on this one, you can see we had a water main on this side, high pressure gas main on this side. So we had to do a lot of hand digging around fiber and stuff and actually move it where we could put our pipe in. So there were some additional labor requirements in order to accomplish that task. And in order to justly compensate the contractor, we agreed to several of the prices and some more general construction. This was in the 3rd Street parking lot. The other thing that we encountered that we hadn't done was that is a building foundation. And then when they demoed the buildings, they just filled in the basements. So we had a lot of debris and stuff that we had to take out. That was back on an earlier picture where we actually put the intake in, then come over and added the manhole and the intake. So this was really not expected. We typically don't do hard research. We're going to kind of look in our office that we might have to start looking at some of the old aerials to see what's in some of these old business districts. Anyway, that's the majority of the projects. Again, just a lot of difficulties on this particular location. So this change order adds $31,606.36 for the added items. And if you look at the actual change order, it's broke down for each of those items. And then the new contract sum is $86,312.36. Is there any specific questions? I mean, that has a lot of detail that you have to go over.
Is there any questions? Just never know what you're going to find under that's crazy.
Well, yeah, even out on West 2nd, we ended up, that's an actual head wall. And then you can see where they built the brick structure and then extended all the way to the levee and then through the levee.
Thanks for the PowerPoint, though. That's nice to see that. For $31,000, that's quite a bit of stuff. So, all right, there's no other questions then. Go ahead and call the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg.
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens.
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe.
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby.
Yes.
Resolution number 274, 2019, approving change orders number 2 and number 3 and approving the final pay request in the amount of $65,209 to Jones Contracting and accepting the work as final and complete for the Jefferson Street reconstruction project. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 274, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
This project consisted of full width, full depth of Jefferson Street from 6th Street to approximately 175 feet south of Garris Street. The project included the installation of sanitary, storm, and water mains. Any additional needed funds will come from the lost fund. The original contract was $794,777, and with the added change orders, the new contract sum is $837,850.07. Waterworks portion is a little bit higher than I have on my staff summary. We went through and calculated that. It's $98,654.85, and that's what will be reimbursed from Waterworks, making our share $739,195.
Okay, any questions for Larry on that? It's a big project too. Okay, call the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens.
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe,
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby.
Yes.
Resolution number 275, 2019, authorize the mayor pro tem to execute Iowa DOT agreement number 519 STBG swap 031 for a surface transportation block grant program federal aid swap project. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 275, 2019.
Is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented, Your Honor.
Second.
Okay, Larry?
This agreement formalizes the federal aid for the Milner Street reconstruction project from Mary Street to Burris Street. Milner Street construction project is a full width, full depth PCC project and includes replacement of sidewalks to an ADA standard, storm and sanitary sewer improvements and water main replacement as needed or requested by Ottumwa Waterworks. The design includes grade work for an 8-foot multi-use trail on the east side, which will be let at a later date and is funded by a separate grant source. The grant program is an 80-20 match. The local match will come from CIP and is budgeted at $407,377. And then I've got funding broke out and estimated cost for the water main.
Another start of a big project. All right, any other questions and discussion for Larry? It's nice to see that 8-foot trail on there. It's going to be a nice piece. Okay, take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens.
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe,
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby.
Yes.
Resolution number 277, 2019, authorizing the mayor pro tem to execute 6 permanent easement and temporary construction easement agreements for construction and maintenance of public improvements for the East Alta Vista reconstruction project. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 277, 2019.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Larry?
This project will consist of full depth, full width PCC reconstruction of Alta Vista from 65 foot outside the city limits southwesterly, a distance of 1,190 linear feet. The existing HMA pavement width varies from 22.5 to 24 foot. The new design will adjust the vertical profile for line of sight and widened pavement to a 26 foot. A new water main installation is part of the project and will be reimbursed by Ottumwa Water and Hydro. Easements were required to flatten driveway slopes and to provide a safer slope on the roadway embankments. And we're asking for approval of the easements, which property owners have reviewed, agreed, and signed.
Okay, questions, comments for Larry on this item? Another big project.
I will add that this project is scheduled to start early spring.
Okay. That's good news. All right, take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens.
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe.
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby.
Yes. Thanks, Larry. All right, that looks like that's about it for that section. We'll move on down to the part of the evening in the agenda where citizens have a chance to come before the council and discuss things that are not listed on the agenda. So if there's anyone in the audience that wishes to do so, now is your time to do that. I would recognize anybody that wishes to at this time. All right, seeing none, we'll move on down to petitions and communications. Time for the council, city administrator, or anybody to bring up informational items before we close out. City Administrator?
Something I just mentioned for information, we have had some issues with postal delivery due to some animal concerns, and I just responded to a citizen who came in and have a letter from the postmaster. So we'll be following up on that, just want that to be known. And then since this is our last meeting with Councilman Dr. Victor Strebe, I would like to thank him personally for the time he's given to the city and his commitment to the projects he's worked on. And he's been just a great thinker and certainly has given a lot of energy to making the city a better place to live and work. And we'll hope you'll come back and continue to be a public servant in the future.
Okay, anything else?
It's reception.
What's that?
Reception.
Yes, the reception.
There is a reception
Yes.
downstairs in room 108 immediately after the meeting, and you're all invited to join us. We're going to toast and roast Victor.
Yes, heavy on the roasting. Anything else? All righty, well, if you are folks that do celebrate the holidays, please do so safely. And I believe we won't be back in session until the new year, if I'm correct. So be careful, have a safe and happy holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year. So if that's it, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, take the roll, please, Chris.
Councilmember Berg,
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens.
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe.
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby.
Yes. Good evening, 6:31.